Hi everyone. In this video, I am referencing another video that came to me, and some similar videos like this have also come into my viewing channel on YouTube. And usually these kind of videos can come to us when we are seeking something from God regarding a resolution of some life challenge or some promise made which related to our future that we got as a result of our prayers to God, or some internal belief system that this is what is meant to unfold next in our life. So, like in this video, this person's healing, I have taken some of his healing when I have watched some of his past videos, and he really is a good, powerful healer where he has helped many people with their illnesses or diseases or other health issues. Now, he himself is disabled, and as a result, when he was in his disability journey for a decade, during that time, slowly, he went into this path of healing and a path of trusting God about the future of his journey. And he has been promised that he will be healed eventually one day. But what happens when we have had a lifelong health issue or disability or continuous long term challenges related to trauma, abuse, or simply have had a very distraught, emotions filled life? Maybe we were depressed our whole life, or we suffered from high amounts of anxiety our whole life, or we suddenly discover that we had cancer, or we face some betrayals in our businesses or work partnerships. These are the kinds of life challenges people face. Sometimes people face job loss, and even though they've been promised that they're going to get a job soon, sometimes that job doesn't manifest. Sometimes the promise comes directly from God when someone is tuned to messages from God. Sometimes the messages come through indirect human messengers. Like if I'm not directly communicating to God, even then, if God wants to send me a message regarding some promise, I get to see a video like this which talks about that promise. So people will experience this, or sometimes people go to astrologers in countries like India, where if they want to figure out what's their child's future or what's their marriage future, what's their financial future, they end up getting all these information which promises them something, which tells them that they might have a job in 1 year or a few years, or they will be healed, or their problem will be resolved, or something like that can happen to all of us when we are going through a life challenge. And these prayers, these astrologer related predictions, these kind of things, or divine revelations, if someone is spiritually attuned, then what happens is, or messages from the universe, these are the terminologies people use when they are searching for an answer to a problem resolution or a problem zone of their life. Now, while the promise is true, while what the astrologer predicts might be true, while or is actually going to manifest for you, while what you hope for and want to manifest in your life using maybe law of attraction or manifestation rituals or prayers, while what you are wanting in your life is a absolutely true thing, soul desire and not a egoic desire, and it should manifest eventually in your life, there's always a thing called divine timing involved in any manifestation, anything that we are doing that requires us to have a faith in the universe or God. And this faith is sometimes tested and challenged for some of us. That's why, even though this guy has been promised that he will be healed, and even though he has been healing so many people, what is the roadblock or thing that could be needed by him is something I've actually posted to some replies related to this video in his other posts. But this is also something which might be relevant to other people who are going through similar challenges like him. And I'm myself going through a health challenge where I don't know when the divine timing of the healing or complete healing related to that challenge will manifest. So, and not just related to healing, but there are some other challenges also that I am going through in life, where hope has been given. I had rays of hope for many years that the situation would turn into something better, and I also tend to look for the silver lining. That's why I made some previous posts also about the silver lining. But I have also faced intense betrayal trauma in many situations in life. So, based on that, we all get challenged about what is promised. We all get challenged about when our silver lining will manifest sometimes in life. And we all can get tested about the faith we hold in the universe, turning things in our favor, or in our health getting better, in our life circumstances shifting for the better. That happens to all of us. It's the normal human thing that all humans go through when they are having a series of challenges, when they are having a lot of bad phases, especially when it is a long term, long duration, when they faced one challenge or multiple challenges. Now, in the initial few years, it's very easy to hold on to the hope via just the wordly promise given by someone. If the universe gave it, if God gave it, if our spirit guides gave it, if another human being promised us that I'll come back for you, all these things are matters of hope. Or if we cling to the hope of words we see on the internet, there are so many motivational coaches who are out there, there are so many motivational posts, there are so many people who are preaching about God's teachings from different kinds of religions, spiritual systems. So there are so many mechanisms for us to keep on holding to the hope that good things will come and everything that is happening to us is for our good. But where many of us falter, and even I failed sometimes, is this understanding that sometimes we get very addicted to the pleasurable things in life, to the fun things in life, to the expensive things in life, to the gaining aspect of life, which causes not just an imbalance within us, but it causes an imbalance in our soul. And if you are also a soul who is on the life path journey of something called a twin flame life journey, or a divine counterpart related messages have come to you, if you are in this twin flame life path journey or divine counterpart life path journey, what most people fail to understand is that how things manifest and shape up in their life is not simply about them anymore. God has created another soul who's going to be as influenced by your choices as their own choices, and you will also be getting influenced by your and their choices. And these people are meant to be your twin flame or divine counterpart. That's why they are very intricately connected with you. So anything that happens to you and your health can impact your twin flame and divine counterpart's health as well. And sometimes it doesn't matter what terminology you're using for this other life partner of yours. They are meant to be your life partner, but they are not currently possibly your life partner. They may or may not be even introduced to you in your life. You might be knowing about them, but you don't know exactly who it is, or you may know them very superficially as a friend or a colleague, but or some distant family, but they may not be intricately involved in your life yet. But if you have some severe and serious soul contracts with other people who are meant to be your divine counterpart or twin flame, sometimes there is a energetic thing going on as well, where anything energetically, if you are in a energetic all-time high, then that means your counterpart has to be in a all-time low, or energetically gain wise, asking wise, taking wise, receiving wise, you're always seeking and receiving and gaining and amassing wealth of stuff for yourself, then if you are doing that, then your divine counterpart will be having the entirely opposite experience, especially if they are not in your life as your spouse yet, and if they are not in your even anywhere near to being your spouse at that time, because this is like a seesaw effect that happens to twin flames and divine counterparts, because balance has to be restored, and in order to achieve that balance, only twin flames have come on earth in order to restore the balance, achieve the balance, understand what leads to imbalance on our earth, understand what kind of mentality, mindset, spiritual practices lead to people going astray from the path that the divine has wanted them to have, that they came on earth before being born with that divine plan. But because of the programming of how earthly life is led, most of us get astray from that divine plan and divine path. And it's not that us getting astray is also not part of the divine plan, but the degree to which we will get astray will be dependent on the degree to which we are influenced by any other source than the divine. If you are a twin flame, you are meant to be influenced by your twin flame and the divine first before being influenced by anyone else. But if you're getting influenced more than other people than your twin flame or the divine and or divine, because sometimes divine has to take precedence, sometimes twin flame has to take precedence, sometimes your own inner higher self has also got to take precedence, and sometimes all three have to balance in us to create the balance with our twin flame and to serve the divine purpose. A twin flame or a divine counterpart is here on earth to serve on behalf of God. But in order to get there, these imbalances are created in our life. So for this person, Alvin, I have been guided to think that he might be a twin flame or he has a divine counterpart somewhere on earth. Now, because he is visible physically, but if you looked at his previous videos, you might have seen in some of his videos that he was a very, and he still is, despite his disability, a very physically activity oriented person. So he likes to do a lot of physical activities. But what he doesn't realize that if he is a divine counterpart of someone, and if he is highly physically active, then his divine counterpart has to create balance, be a little less active than him. If you want balanced activity, then, and if you have achieved that balance within yourself, then this seesaw effect won't happen. But when he was in his heightened, like say he was in his early 20s or teenage years, at that time, being a typical teenager or youth oriented person, when he was not connected to his divine plan, he was a very risk taking kind of a person. Otherwise, if he wasn't a risk taking kind of a person, he wouldn't have even met with that accident that he met. Part of it was his responsibility, part of it was the responsibility of anyone else who was risk takingly driving at that time on the road. How much what was his responsibility, I can't tell, because I don't know the details of his accident. All I know was he met with a car accident. And say he wasn't the driver. If he wasn't the driver, someone else was the driver in that accident, then the people he chose to trust to be his driver, they were not, they were the high risk taking personalities. And this is what happens, not just, and this is not just about Alvin, it is also about anyone else who has met with such kind of physical accidents or spiritual accidents or some physical problems in their life. at a time is the time to pause. When you have had an accident, when you have had a loss, when you have experienced a phase in life where you have been disabled from doing many things that you used to be able to do previously. I got cancer in the recent years where I couldn't physically do anything that I used to do earlier as a physically active person. And I was not looking at my face, as you can see, I'm a chubby girl. So it's not that I was at the peak, heightened, top sportsman level of physical activity in my life. But there was still a optimum level of physical activity that I used to do in my life. I used to work out in the gym for a couple of hours. If I'm not working out in the gym, I used to go out for walks for a couple of hours daily. If I wasn't even doing that, normally when I was working professionally somewhere as a pharmacist, I used to have 12 hours working days. So like that, I was physically always upright and doing a lot of work. For many years of my life, I did that. But when I got cancer and it hit me, and along with cancer, other things also hit me at the same time, that level of 12 hours of working was a joke. I couldn't even walk for 12 minutes outside in normal roads. I had other health problems where going out in the sunlight and bad weather conditions were impacting my health. Pollution was impacting my health. Multiple things were impacting my health, because when you fall sick, if you are really sick, many things can impact your health. So that was happening. Things outside my control were also impacting my health. Things within my control were also impacting my health. So when things in your control impact your health, same way when this accident happened, if he or anyone else who has undergone an accident doesn't do the self-reflection process of why that accident happened, if they get healed also and are again physically able to walk again, if they never did the right self-reflection of why this accident happened in the higher purpose level of it, then that higher purpose of their life will not be revealed to them. So if this Alvin has a higher purpose that is meant to manifest in his life a few years later, that higher purpose will not manifest for him until he does the right soul call, soul reflection, soul searching, inner work necessary for him to get there. Does it mean he didn't do any inner work? No. In 10 years, he has done a lot of inner work as well as outer work. He has he has been far more active than many disabled persons are able to be active. He is a lot self-reliant than many people in many countries may not be like him. He enjoys life's every small pleasures. Even now, based on his limitations, he pursues a lot of physically challenging activities. Like I think he went paragliding and things like that. So he does do activities that suit his taste, suit his personality. Even now, despite the disability, he is able to do many things that he used to do previously before the accident as well. But there's still apart from this, he learned what additional thing. He learned how to connect to God. He learned how to sit with God. He learned how to follow the guidance of God. He learned how to heal people based on what God was giving him the power to heal. But this large chunk of work that he has done for 10 years, once we do all this work for God, after that we can sometimes get really tired, because if we have been promised that we will be healed and we are not healed, and when he has the power to heal so many people, he might get this doubt inside him that I'm healing so many people, then why is God is channeling through me to heal so many people? Because it's not like anytime we do anything miraculous on earth, people forget this, but most of the time that miracle happens because God is channeling and using us to do that healing. So all the glory actually goes to God, not to the human who is doing it. So sometimes if our ego gets into place, thinking that if I'm able to heal everyone else, why am I not able to heal myself? There he has to remember that he is healing, but he is the medium for healing these people. And likewise, someone else might be the medium to heal him too. And also, a healer sometimes needs a healer is one thing he may have to realize right now. Second thing he may have to realize is, after his healing or during the time when he is not as physically able to do the things that he used to do previously, he may need to reflect on, does he need to do all those same activities that he used to do when he was in his early 20s. Now I'm assuming he's in his early 30s right now, and he had this accident when he was in his early 20s. So assuming this, I don't know his real age, but assuming this, if in his early 20s there were certain activities that attracted him, drew him into being a particular kind of person, once he gets back his legs, he may wish to re-explore those same things, and he's already started re-exploring some of those same things, like paragliding, when he went paragliding recently. So while he's exploring these old patterns that he used to do previously, the thing is, these are all testing time again for him to figure out, is that what he wants his life to be? Because everyone has free will. So if he wants to explore life again, like how he used to have a life as a 20-year-old, then a different kind of life will unfold for him. If he realizes that this doesn't resonate with me anymore, then a different kind of life might unfold for him. If he also does some other deeper self-reflections called inner work, because if he is a twin flame or a potential twin flame, and if he wants to do the inner work related to a twin flame, then his disability was the time when he was supposed to do some inner work and self-reflection. Because this is what happened to me. While I was physically not doing any work, I was not getting paid to do any work, I was not physically able to do any work, I was not even physically able to do simple things like cooking that I used to do for myself regularly, simple cleaning stuff that I used to do regularly. Everything was making me tired. So something like, if a cleaning activity would take 10 minutes for me earlier, now it would take 30 minutes for me to do. If cooking was not possible, now I ended up spending more money having someone else cook for me. Out of that also, because I was unhealthy, I couldn't eat all the foods that I was buying, because in India there's a huge problem with food pollution, earth pollution. So in the India where I live, in the places where I live, I was getting 50%, 70% of the time really bad quality food that was worsening my health. It is true even of US. Those people who die of cancer, even in US or any other developed country or developing country, if you're dying of cancer, organ damage, sepsis, some long-term chronic illness, most of us's chronic illness related root causes actually lie in the kind of environmental factors we live in that influence our health over the time of life we had on earth. So if I lived in 10 different places, all the environmental factors of 10 places are impacting my health. If I lived only in one place, then one place's environmental factors impacted my health. If I live and work in 2 different places, then those 2 places factors are impacting my health, and the travel between those 2 places are also impacting my health. So these are the self-reflections I did. Why? Because I was from a healthcare background. And I was capable of doing those self-reflections. So God will not push us to do a self-reflection we are not capable of. God will also not make us do these self-reflections, because it's our free will whether we want to do this self-reflection, whether we want to make the changes that are showing up for us to make it. And based on our free will, then our next life path will unfold. And that's why, even though he has been promised that he will also get back his movement and become a physically able person, depending on what's God's plan for him and how much he surrenders to God's plan for him and how much he really wants to be the spiritual warrior for God, for some of the spiritual work that he has been channeled into doing, depending on all these factors only his disability will go away, and in the divine timing of it. Because again, there are multiple life paths that can open for him, but which door he should open is something he might need to self-reflect on. He should, what he was 20 years back, 10 years back before his disability, that personality and the friends he had when he was that personality, those friends have also changed. So he needs to possibly understand that also. And it is true that because he got disabled, a little bit of him will want for the 10 years that he didn't get to explore life as a normal 20-year-old. There will be a soul need inside of him that will want to explore that path also, possibly. Like, what do 20-year-old typical Caucasian kids do? The Caucasian kids that I know about, or even not the Caucasian kids, even the Indian kids that I know about, in their 20s, most men, they want to drink around, party around, dance around, do all these thrill-seeking activities. This is what is going on in the minds of many people of this generation. I had an ex-boyfriend who was possibly near Alvin's age, so I understand the mentality of these kids who are younger than me, who have this. And I never had that thrill seeking aspect in my life, but I understand I have attracted many people who are this thrill seeking kind in my life. So because I have attracted them and I have dated them or even seen them as friends, I know what a typical 20-year-old man who was highly active and adrenal rush chasing, what they want. But I know this, God also knows this. I'm telling it on behalf of God, that if you have been like that kind of a person, and in your 30s you want to be like that, but all your friends are now grown up, they have had that 10 years of having fun and doing all these physical activities, and by their mid 30s maybe or early 30s, they are getting married, they have kids now, they have responsibilities now they don't want to chase all these fun activities. So then your question next is, if I want to chase these activities after I get well, will I have friends who will want to chase that with me? So maybe the reason why he is not getting healed right now is because he needs to find those friends then, who will be ready to chase these activities after he is healed, or even before he is healed. He may need to find those new friends who, as paraplegics or disabled people, are still seeking these fun activities that they want. If this is not what he wants, if he wants to become a father, if he wants to become a responsible citizen, if he wants to become a twin flame, if he wants to enter that life path journey, then there's a different kind of inner work, self-reflection, soul work, life path related reflection, maturity, everything that needs to unfold for him slowly in life. And the time it will take for these things to unfold is also the time period when his healing will be slowly happening and unfolding for him. Because that's why a divine timing is there for anything to unfold for us. There was a comment in one of his in this video section where someone said they wrote a book and they're waiting for a publisher to approach them. Now maybe God or the revelation they got told them that they need the right publisher to approach them. That is true, but that doesn't mean that this person should just simply wait for a publisher to approach them. In the meantime, they could do certain things related to promoting their books. Otherwise, how will a publisher know that you have written a book, right? So if you have written already a book and you want the right publisher to approach them, that is true that you need the right publisher to approach them, because this person has written something about God related stuff. He needs a spiritual person to understand his material. But if this person, the author, he or she, I didn't see the gender, but if he or she has written something that is of a particular value to a particular kind of publisher, either they have to still approach some publishers and out of them one of them will reach them, or they have to still because YouTube is there or other social media is there right now, they have to still promote their books in some clips, or they have to start teaching about what they have written in the book to influence other people other than when the book will be published. There are multiple life paths for even that person that might need to unfold for them eventually. And have you heard the saying, God helps those who help themselves? So whatever challenges we face in life, like for my cancer, I'll tell you one simple thing I did for my cancer. The things that I can fix, I am fixing. But the things that say I'm living with a family and they have to also fix, if they don't fix it, then I have only two alternatives. Either live with that family or not live with that, because if I live with them and they don't fix the things that are harming my health, then my health will get worse. And I was really in that poor state of health that I just simply could not live with anyone who will not make the even minor degree breadcrumb level changes that are necessary for me to have even the poorest quality of life, just for me to survive through one day. If people are not able to make that small change degree of changes that are needed for me to just survive through one day, I can't live with those people, right? Because if I am at a real dire straits and I understand that I am spiritually that much attuned to know that I am in the brink of collapse if certain things favoring my health are not present in my life. So if the bare minimum things favorable for my health are not present, I will not simply survive, I will die. If the bare minimum things are present, I am surviving, but at the barely surviving level rather than the optimal functional level some cancer patients can have when they have multiple health supportive things helping them survive through their cancer, which can be treatment, which could be parental support, family support, social support, financial things that they need for their health, whatever it is a patient needs for their health. And there are so many other patients also, despite all these things being prevalent, they still died. Why? Because it was possibly the divine timing for them to die, or there were conditions that were needed for them to survive through their cancer that didn't get fulfilled because people around them in their life were not aware what is needed for a cancer patient to survive through cancer treatment and cancer therapy also. So this is where I am going through the cancer problems because of many reasons, and I will maybe post another video on that, and I've already posted it on my other site where I talk about my healthcare related work, but this one I'm going to post on my spiritual website. So basically even the cancer has a spiritual purpose, both a spiritual purpose and a practical purpose. And every time I self-reflect or do something related to the spiritual aspect or the practical aspect, initially for the first few years of this cancer, I was learning about it. Then in the next few years, because I didn't know whether I'll survive through a day or not, even though God said you will survive through this, but God also promised something in a way which I know means, because I am a little bit more into understanding the unspoken word as well. Because it simply means that even if I will have in my future a better life, that was what was promised to me. I will have a better life eventually. But your better life can manifest in 3 different ways for a person with cancer and at the level of cancer that I have, which is I will either survive and get healed from this cancer, or I will survive through this cancer just the enough number of years needed for me to finish my soul contract on earth with the people who are currently present on my life with me or around me or associated with me. And the third better future is I will heal through the cancer, survive through it, and then live another 20, 30, 40 years of life. And I also am a very I read palmistry a little bit, not too much, but about lifeline I know about it because God wanted to give me that insight about my lifeline. So I already knew about my lifeline from many years back, that there were some and not just me, other people who have looked into my lifeline. Sometimes the way they have reacted to it, I know that there are many cuts and lines in my lifeline which shows that I have many exit points during my this lifetime's life plan. Meaning, if say I'm meant to live 100 years of life in this lifetime, that my longest lifeline is showing and representing, despite that 100 years of long lifeline that is showing up on my hand, I also have exit points before that, where if certain things go the way it goes, I will die maybe in my 30s, I'll die in my 50s, I'll die in my 60s, like that different time points have been given. And this literally happened to me in when I was in my 20s. One time I had such a kind of accident that getting saved from that accident was nothing short of a miracle. And like that, I had 2 accidents like that in my 20s, late 20s and early 30s. And right now I have cancer in my late 30s, early 40s. So you see, already 3 exit points of my life have gone away. But that doesn't mean that the rest of the exit points are still not there in my life plan. and they will unfold or not unfold. So I have faith. So in my promise that God has given to me about my future being better, the future being better not just depends on what I do. I have to do what I can do in this life. But people associated with me in this life, people yet to associate with me in this life, if they don't do the steps necessary for them to do what they need to do to activate a soul life path plan with me, then my exit points are still there in my hand. That will happen in a few years or a few decades or 30-40 years down the line. It all depends on what comes into place according to the divine timing of what divine has planned for me, what I know is part of my life plan subconsciously, because of course I can't know which day I will die. I can't know that tomorrow I'll die, or 10 years later I'll die, or 40 years later I will die. I don't know. That's why even the lifeline, like if I'm assuming that this is a 100-year lifeline, it could be a 80-year lifeline also, it could be a 120-year lifeline also, because currently on earth there are human beings who have lived beyond 100 years as well. There are human beings in my family that I know who lived around 70-80 years of age as well. There are human beings who I also knew in my life who died in their 40s and 50s too. And that's why, and why did I get to experience this about death, people dying in their 20s, 40s, 100-year age, 70-year age? Why do I know about this information? Because I needed that information to know about my own life plan and to explain this to other people. Because many a times the promise that was made to you is a promise that will be kept, obviously. But how the promise will be kept partly is dependent on the inner work you have to do, outer relationships you have to build, and also the inner work, outer work of the other souls with you whom you had a soul contract. And if that soul contract is ending or has ended or is nearing its end, and people are not able to shift into a better way that is more aligned with, say, a disabled person's life needs, or a cancer person's life needs, or someone who's having a financial challenge, their life needs, if people around them, associated with them, be it in their personal life or professional life or social life, are not able to realign in the right way according to God's plan for the best optimum life you could possibly have and they could possibly have with you. If the best outcome happens, like just looking at the simplest thing lifeline wise, for me, if the best outcome for everyone happens, I'll live probably until 100 years of age or something, somewhere really old age, like another 30-40 years I will definitely live. That much I know. But that for that, the highest optimum life path has to unfold with many people. If that happens, then I will live until that age. If that doesn't happen, then instead of 80, I might die at 70. If that doesn't happen, instead of 70, I might die at 50. If that doesn't happen, instead of 50, I might die in my mid-40s. And when I will die, I don't know. But I can know, like because I'm from a healthcare background, because I'm attuned to my body, because I do certain kinds of meditation or healing related work, I know when my health is really bad and I'm going to die or have like at the brink of collapse like phase where I might die within a few years or a few months. And I also know when I am at an optimum health and I might survive for another few years. At least for now, based on my cancer and the other things that are going on in my life, I know I have another 3-4 years of leeway here and there that might manifest in my life. But everything else that has to go beyond these 3-4 years, or maybe 3-4 weeks, I don't know, because 3-4 weeks also I can die, because that thing is up to God and I have left it up to God. But it can be 3-4 weeks, it can be 3-4 months, it can be 3-4 years. That is presently based on where I am, what is happening in my life, what are the factors harming my health, and what are the factors aiding my health. So, but does it mean I don't have a beautiful life ahead of me? No, because after death, say I die in 3 years, after death also there's a beautiful life that is meant to unfold for me based on the next life that will come up. So God's promise doesn't go away. If I survive this and I go through cancer and get treatments and I get healthy completely and I live for another 10-20 years, 30-40 years, again, a beautiful life will unfold again based on what I do, what other people around me are doing, because that beautiful life promise is true, and that optimal life will come when we have done the most optimal thing possible for us to do. Then you get the chances of the most optimal and best life unfolding for you when you have given your best. And apart from that, other people also have to give their best for that best life to unfold. In the story of Job in the Bible, when Job lost everything, he was actually doing many things optimal to have the most optimal life on earth. The most optimal thing he was doing was he didn't lose faith in God. So even though he didn't lose faith in God, he lost many things. And when people lose, when people fail, when people are diseased, when people have death happening in their family, many of them lose faith in God. But because he didn't lose faith in God, and even though he had an optimal life before he lost everything, he got more than the optimal life he already had before he lost everything, because of his faith and trust in God. And because not just his faith and trust in God, but also because he didn't lose the faith and trust, and he didn't lose that he didn't blame God for whatever was going wrong in his life. He just knew that whatever was happening was part of his life plan. Somehow, subconsciously, he must have known that, or he must have shown that in the way he expressed his life when he was experiencing the hardest time in his life. And as a result, he got rewarded so much more than what he anticipated when everything was restored back to him. So same thing with anyone who has financial ups and downs, who had heartbreaks, who had disability, who has illness, who has some life challenge or a combination of life challenge going on. It's you that decides how optimally your life will unfold, and you, in conjunction with God, always decides the most optimal thing that is going to unfold with you. So every time you are in distress and are confused why you are in a holding pattern in life, ask the right questions and believe in God, and you will receive the right answers you seek that will help you cross over this threshold where you are at the brink of a breakthrough. But in order for you to get the right breakthrough or have the most optimal life unfold for you, that key that needs to turn, or the soul awakening that needs to happen, will determine how optimally you will go in the next phase of your life. I hope it makes sense. If you have any questions, please drop me a comment. Thank you.